Ishaya, why did you leave my friend hanging? She is a decent and well-mannered girl.
Yeah, I know.
Why not get serious with her and marry her later on?
Rekia, her genotype is AS.
But you're AA. That's not a problem at all. K!
You are right. I need AA straight.
Come on. Ishaya, biologically speaking, you guys are compatible with no risk at all. Why are you talking like you're not educated? You should read some more on this issue. The internet will help you.
Rekia, I need my children to be AA, nothing more, nothing less.
Hello and welcome to the program Hot Button. Life is not always black and white. And when emotions are involved, decision making is not always easy. You will think making a decision on whom to date was your call. But there are higher powers. Recognizing the higher powers with wisdom is what lasting peace and happiness truly is. My name is Johnny, and with me on this program I have
Ayodeji
and
Esther.
all right, guys, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Today we are looking at a topic: genotype. Does it matter in a relationship? Is a thing that most people do not pay attention to, and to some it is something to not neglect. Now,
Okay.
what is genotype? How important is genotype in our relationship?
Genotype is very important in our relationship, I would say, because genotype is something that should be used to determine compatibility in relationships, especially relationships that are leading to marriage and wanting to have children.
Okay, let me hear from you.
I think it is, but in the other hand, it is not, because it depends on what you want. If I don't want to have children in the long run, I have a goal of not having children, I shouldn't be bothered about what your genotype is as a lady. So it depends on what you want. I can't say
Wow.
that.
Okay, so you're saying genotype is important because it is a determinant for whether you are going to settle in a relationship, whether you're compatible with the person you're with,
Exactly.
especially when you're looking towards settling down. And then you are saying it depends on what you want. If you necessarily do not want to have children
So that
of
shouldn't
your
be-
own,
Sure,
it shouldn't
yeah.
be a problem. Is that what I'm getting from
Sure,
it?
sure.
Wow. Okay, so if you don't want to have children, why bother about genotype in your relationship?
Every relationship should want to have children. Why would you not
Really?
want to have children in a marriage?
Really, I have quite a number of friends that say they do not want to carry their own children.
Are there any medical reasons for that?
People have, how will I put it? People have different reasons for different
Okay.
things. As a woman, you've seen maybe how your mother suffered, having their children, the process of carrying pregnancy, and you don't want to go through that process because you cannot take it. You can decide not to have children. So if, as a lady, you don't want to have children, and you see a man who has that same orientation about marriage, that the goal of our marriage, our relationship is not to have children, they can settle down without being bothered about
Wow.
what genotype somebody is carrying.
Okay, so you don't because the law has
I am not
made-
saying it's not important,
Yeah.
but it depends on
It
what
depends
you
on
want.
what you want.
Yeah.
Very clear. Your point is well,
Okay.
well stated. And then looking at the fact that the government world over permits adoption
Sure.
as an option for having one's biological
sure.
children. What you're trying to say is you can still have an option
An option, adoption, and
of adoption and not
Adoption,
wanting to
yeah.
have your own.
children.
But having this sense of belief that this person sitting down is my blood, how do you relate that when you adopt?
What if we marry and we can't even have children? Are we going to die?
So it's an equal probability.
So, and when it comes to genotype, you can never be sure. You can never be sure that before, because AA, somebody is AS, we are going to have children in the long run. It doesn't determine whether you are fertile or not. So there are probability of not having children, even when you are compatible.
There could still be other underlying biological
factors,
problems,
knowing your
or medical
genotype,
issues.
knowing your genotype doesn't necessarily state that you will have children.
Sure, I know.
But as you were saying, what if knowing your genotype just takes out one of those what ifs, so you are sure that your compatibility rate is higher than when you did not know your genotype, basically.
Like I said, I'm not trying to say you should overlook genotype when you want to settle down, especially for those who want to have children. It is very important. But like I said, you don't want to have children, don't bother about it. But if you want to have children, you should be bothered about it.
If you want to have children of
children,
your own,
yes,
biological children
of your own, you should
blood-related children,
sure,
you should be worried about genotype. But however, if you do not care if the children you own are biological or not, you can go ahead and ignore it. Wow, 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 wow. The points are clear. One beautiful thing about our program is that you are entitled to your opinion. Okay? But at the end of the day, because we have quite a number of young people like us out there who mostly find themselves in situations like this, we can always strive to see different opinions and see how we can guide somebody to taking the right decisions. Sure. And I'm sure I myself personally have learned something new today, which is very, very, very remarkable. Now, are we obligated to disclose our genotype to a partner?
Yes, I believe we are. I'm somebody that is obviously inclined to the medical side of everything, because that's my field. So knowing your genotype in a relationship is an obligation. If I were to have a boyfriend, I would tell him from the onset of the relationship, even when we are just dating or just getting to know each other, it's something I would tell you, okay, I'm AA, I'm AS, I'm SS, so that you already, exactly, so you already know, because as the relationship grows, emotions get heavier, and then it blinds your
sense of judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes.
You now become biased to your emotions than reality. So I think it's an obligation.
Okay.
One time like that, I posted on my WhatsApp status about genotype. That it should be a requirement for you anywhere you go, whether you want to open an Instagram account, a Facebook account, like after your name, it should be your genotype. So before I even connect with you, maybe I've been looking at you, I like this person, before I go further, because like she said, our minds are very flexible, no doubt. But when you've already connected with somebody, you're already planning about maybe your future, and you are not looking for something temporary. You are looking for something that is worth it. And at the end of the day, you start connecting with the person without asking if that person is compatible with you. You've gone far, you've started, you know, for ladies, some of them have started planning how their wedding will be. And you now ask.
True.
You now realize you are not compatible. It could be very, very, very traumatizing. So, like you said, from the onset, if you know you are not, if you are not a player, and if you don't have ulterior motive, like you don't want to ruin this person, you should tell them, this is who I am. And for guys, you need to ask from the beginning. If you want something worth it, from the beginning, you should ask. So before you go further, before you make them the icing on your cake, let's know who you are.
Very, very important. So you see, the point you made that I love so much is maybe we should create a spot, just like we put our names out there on social media. So we should also put a spot where you say, Johnny, genotype AA. And then someone who has interest knows already, like, just as much as the person knows your name. And then the person could just, you know, that's a great one.
I have a question.
Please do.
Does that mean human beings that are SS will not be in relationships?
They will.
Because somebody that is AS and see somebody that is SS, although pretty, although handsome, would stay away if that's the case. So what will you say about that?
Are you trying to say it eliminates options? Like I might be AS and I'm still okay with marrying SS. If I'm still okay with marrying SS, the fact that you put it there, I know what I'm going in for. You get? I'm already aware about who you are. You get? the only thing I can say is the stigma that comes with being SS. People don't want to tell you they are SS. But if you put it out there and somebody is still trying to reach out to you, you know it's for real. This person knows who you are and is still coming for you. Rather than you are hiding it and after 2 or 3 months, the person gets to know and that's the end. So I think...
And actually, being SS is not even a death sentence.
Yes.
These days, science has so improved that a lot of them have
They live
medications
longer
that, you
than
know,
they used to.
I've seen an SS man who has lived, has worked, and has retired, and has children who are married and are doing well. And he still lives, still dates. So, it depends on how you manage your crisis, how you manage your health and all that. It's not a death sentence, but nobody chooses to be SS, AS, or AA.
Somebody made a mistake from the beginning.
Someone can make a decision to not give room for SS, and then there's nobody who is SS that is happy with it.
Exactly.
You can live through it, but it doesn't mean deep down you just wish you could still be the same if you had the option. Okay? But with things like this, with what you've said, if we disclose our genotype, you know me so well, I know you so well, there is a level with which, you know, we can curtail this particular thing that is a problem to someone else who wasn't part of a decision you made before both of you got together. So, having said that, there are people who feel very edgy when you bring up the question of what's your genotype? Why that?
I think if you are in a relationship and I have ulterior motive, like I said, I don't want to marry you. Some people are like that.
Okay.
They're just dating that particular person to while away time. The fact that that person is asking you for your genotype means they are thinking something serious. Because in this age, as I am, if you ask me what's my genotype as a lady, and I know there is something between us, I already know what you are thinking. So if I don't want to settle with you, I will be so uncomfortable to tell you I can lie, just to let you.
Okay, just to let the question slide
So
by.
that's why. But if you are comfortable with the person you are dating, you see your life with them, the rest of your life with them, you shouldn't be uncomfortable telling them who you really are when it comes to genotype.
Okay, so why?
That's right. Well, people feel uncomfortable, first of all, because, as he said, it is something that is like a big deal. So when you ask me my genotype, oh, what are you thinking? Do you want to get married to me? Calm down, we are not there
Can I
yet.
actually marry this person?
Exactly. So it brings up a whole lot of questions, which I believe should not be there, because you should have already said this to each other from the beginning.
From the onset.
That's my own. So we have made it seem like it's a marriage thing. And once it has reached there, it is most likely that there are already emotions. So, yes.
Now, let's make it explicitly clear.
Okay.
At what stage? At what stage? Because there are people who wait to a point before this question is put forth. There are those who even wait, it's when they get to the church, and then the church is asking before they get to like, okay, let's go do it. Some people don't even know their genotype. At what point is it crucial that we disclose our genotype in a relationship?
At the very beginning.
If it is possible, the very first of the initial beginning, ask this question.
So I meet
Exactly.
I meet Esther. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Esther.
What's your genotype?
No, not that way. You don't just, you don't,
All right. So how? At what?
you know, I don't know how will I put it? I don't know how you shoot your shot, but you know, there are levels to things. And when you are asking people, you don't just go to people. You don't just come to me and say, "Hi, how you? What's your
Please
genotype?"
tell me. I want to learn something. Yeah. How would you
That
drop
process of trying to know the person,
Yeah.
you know, it could be you are just discussing and you find a way of asking. But if it is somebody you've been very close with, you are my friend, I've known you for long, I can ask you out of the blue before I even let you know what my motive, what I'm asking for. So from the beginning, you should ask, but not like you are seeing somebody for the first time, you don't know who they are. If you're asking that person for their genotype, you don't know what you want because you don't even know that person.
You don't know that person.
Or if that process of getting to know the person gets to know you, let's spill it there.
Wow. Well said. Someone is listening. Trust me. Talk to me.
And also adding to it, as a friend, even a normal friend, people with some genotypes have struggles. Like people with SS genotype, they are facing struggles. Even it can actually help you in your dating process.
Okay.
Because sometimes the person is off, the person is not picking their phone calls because the person has had a crisis.
Sure.
Not only does it give you a sense of compatibility if you guys have a compatible genotype, but it also helps you understand the person better. So I feel like from the very onset, you should know the person's genotype.
From the very onset.
Of the relationship.
So now tell me, yeah, from the onset, but how do you go about telling someone from the onset? How do you go about asking?
You know, when you meet someone, you ask, oh, what's your favorite color? What places do you like going? What food do you like eating? All those questions sum up to
can just
knowing
find
the
a way
person.
around it.
Yes.
So you shouldn't ask the person out before asking such a serious question.
Sure.
You should ask for the person's genotype before you even do the asking out.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm getting from here?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. That's why dating comes before actually courting.
Really?
You know, dating.
But
it has
you know
been
some people are very,
misconstrued.
very particular when it comes to things of the mind. I've started with you.
Okay.
Committed
If it's just
myself.
one day, some people are very, especially ladies, just one day is enough to
Okay.
break somebody. I've said yes to you. Before I will say yes to you, I've already thought about it. Can I marry this person? Yes. Then maybe a week after you come to me. Some people might let go, but some people are very particular. To look as if you took something so big from them.
From them, yeah.
Okay.
So it's very, to me
Yeah.
personally, it's very good for you to know from the onset.
So you believe in the talking
You
stage.
should know.
Okay.
So the onset meaning, I haven't asked you out yet,
Okay.
Yeah.
but we are
But
seeing
I'm
each other.
I'm aware that
We-
this is who you are.
Yeah, we are relating. So before, but at the point of putting that question forth, what language are you communicating to this person? Why do you want to ask somebody a serious question as your genotype? Wouldn't you pass what you said? If you ask me for genotype, what comes to my head is, do you want to marry me?
To marry me.
So how do you handle that?
Yes, if I ask you the question, I want to marry you, that's just the answer. If I don't want to marry you, I won't ask.
In the talking stage, you want to marry the person. That's
what I'm
not.
wondering.
Oh, I would like put it. Maybe people are different.
Okay.
I'm not going to put my all into anybody. I'm not even going to disturb you if I know what I'm asking you for. It's not what I'm ready for. If I'm not ready to marry you, why should I ask you out? In as much as the goal of every marriage, every relationship should not be marriage, because like you said, we might be dating and we realize we are not good together. Maybe we fight a lot. We are not just compatible apart from genotype.
Yeah.
But from the onset, I know, okay, this is who you are. It could work. It might not work.
Okay.
So 50-50.
But the goal of the relationship is towards marriage.
No.
Or you're saying there
We
can
might have a genotype that are compatible, but in the long run, we are still not compatible in other
compatible
areas.
In other
Okay.
areas.
But
Okay.
you know, the way genotype determines a lot of things, like when you've gotten to to the peak, you now realize you have to calm down. So
Exactly.
that should be cleared. The fact that you are AA and AS doesn't mean I should marry you by fire by force.
Okay, regardless of
Regardless,
your
but I should know.
attitude and all that.
That's what I'm saying. What
Okay.
if I didn't ask, we get along, and in the long run I get to know we are not compatible when it comes to genotype? It will be traumatizing. So
It will.
Okay, so are there other ways to find out about someone's genotype without necessarily
asking,
putting it out there?
Yes,
There are not.
There are not?
There are not.
yes, there are ways.
How?
Okay, you can ask their family and friends.
Okay.
Though I don't know if that is allowed in your field as a doctor.
Asking family and friends is putting yourself in a serious relationship
Already, I get.
Because imagine you, a
Okay.
babe, going to your family and friends and asking for your
Asking
genotype.
But you know, for guys, maybe you have a friend that is a guy. I can easily ask the guy,
How sure are you he would know?
unless he doesn't know. But if the guy knows, he can tell. You get. And I don't know, maybe in this part of our area, like when we're registering for, what are they calling it? 100 level. It might not be applicable everywhere.
Okay.
We got to know some people's genotype.
Oh, okay.
Forms, when you fill forms. And
Yeah.
if you are
And
close,
some people carry it about, not
carry
really
it about
hiding it.
and you get, so you can get to know. You can
Okay.
ask friend, like I said. I think
But
those are-
isn't it still appropriate to say, hey, this is your friend, I kind of like her, but I'm wondering, could you help me? Do you know
Sure.
her genotype? Has she discussed it with you before? Is that
See, let me tell you
appropriate?
something. If
It
a guy,
is very
see,
inappropriate.
see, if a guy,
Why
let
is
me
it
tell
so
you, it
inappropriate?
might be to you, but if a guy comes to me, I have a female friend, a guy comes to me and the guy is asking me what's my friend's genotype, I won't lie to you, I will gladly tell. Because the fact that the guy is asking, to me, it might not be, but the guy is saying, I'm not just looking for something
Not just, yeah.
small, I'm looking for something big.
Okay.
And if it is someone I know, okay, is worth it, I will gladly tell and see how things will unfold. I will gladly tell.
Okay, so if I walk up to you and then I say, hey, Esther, I like your sister or I like your friend, and I don't know, do you happen to know her genotype or something? You think it's a big deal to communicate?
I think it is, and that's the thing, girls think differently than
Yeah.
boys. So when you ask a girl this kind of question, before she will answer you, she has to ask her friend first.
Okay.
So her friend would eventually hear before she tells you that you asked for a genotype, and then there'll be questions, why does he want my genotype? And some girls might actually find it rude that he went through her friend than coming to her actually.
But
So
you know,
just
this thing is
ask her.
easier for those that are AA. If I'm AA, I'm not even bothered unless I don't want to marry SS.
True.
If I'm AA, I know, okay, this person might be AA, might be AS. I'm good to go. But I think this is particular for those that are AS and SS. You need to know.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So you will eliminate all the problems that could arise in the future. But for AA, like the way they used to pride in themselves, like we are like
Yes.
king of all genotypes
course
and all
we
that.
are.
I didn't
Yes,
know
we
that
are.
until I...
Like she said, of course we are.
Yeah,
Yes,
but I
we
I've
didn't...
known now that you are AA. So
I've known that that I'm AA,
Okay.
but I never took it like it's anything serious until I started hearing about this genotype.
But do you know what just
And then
happened
it
now? The
doesn't
way
really
you know
make
the
me
way you just said,
special.
of course we are. You can have this kind of argument with the person intentionally with the person
and then
to
when
know
you
how
say
their
that-
Exactly,
reaction.
that
You
is
get
a
to see
way-
their reaction,
yes.
and before you are not asking directly, indirectly, like Joe. You get, it's like I come there and say, is this because you are AA, you are doing that? I'm not AA, you know, things like that. You
Yes.
can
Okay,
easily
now
get to know.
let's look at something like this. So it means if we don't have compatible genotype, we shouldn't date.
It depends on you. It's a very big question, but it depends
Okay.
on you.
It does depend on you.
How does it depend on me?
There are options.
Okay.
If somebody's AS and we decide to walk down the aisle and marry, are we ready to go through the psychological, mental, and financial implications that could come from it? We have a CVS, which is a chorionic villus sampling. If I marry AS, as an AS person, there are options like that CVS,
Okay.
where after 10 weeks they will test the baby's genotype. It is very expensive. They
Okay.
get to know if this baby is the baby carrying sickle cell.
Okay.
Again. So if the baby is carrying sickle cell, as a Christian, I don't advise anybody to abort unless on special occasions. But can you go through that trauma of if you find out the baby is SS or the baby is carrying sickle cell, of terminating the baby?
Okay.
Some people cannot go through. And some ladies, some women can say we will. But when it gets to that point, you know, that connection, that emotion, a lady can tell you, after we do this test, if the baby is SS, we terminate. And at that point, she doesn't want to anymore because of that emotion. Can you go
Okay.
through that trauma of
Wow.
realizing I've killed somebody intentionally? So to me, if you cannot go through that,
And as Christians, it's not even
it's not
an option.
advisable for
Yeah,
you to, it's not
even
an option
at all.
for you
Unless
to do
you are
that.
willing to get married just for companionship and decide to adopt babies.
Yes.
That is also an
Okay.
option, so that you know that we are not compatible genotype wise, but I'm here because of this person. Children are a blessing, but I can also take care of other people's children. That you have an
I still
option
have
as well.
But there's another option where you don't actually have to kill. When they take the semen of the guy and the egg of the woman and they culture it in a petri dish for 4 days, and after 4 days they will determine the one that is AAAS and those are the ones they will maybe inject in the. I don't know how they do it
wow.
medically.
That's a huge one.
But it's expensive. Do you have
Okay.
that financial strength? Are you that
Yes.
box
To go.
up to go through it? So if
Of
you are not
course.
in that space,
Mm.
you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Wow, wow, wow. Nice one. I've learned a lot today. And I'm sure someone out there is learning so much today. Now, let's look at this. If I happen to have been in a relationship without asking from the beginning, which is a mistake that a lot of us make.
Okay.
I happen to be in a relationship, we've gone years, and we are about, taking the ultimate decision of being together forever, only to discover that we have incompatible genotype.
Genotypes,
At
okay.
that point, what should I do? Should I break up?
Ayo said, if you don't want to have children, you don't mind.
I want to have children.
You want to have
Yeah.
Hey,
children.
can you, the options we've listed,
Yes.
can you go through them without?
So if you cannot,
And you should always remember, you might try everything and you still end up to have SS, because these things are not 100% accurate. They might tell you
Science
this
is not
person is
100% actually.
AA is AS, and at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you get to have SS. It's not about you now, it's about the child.
Exactly.
I can't imagine if I'm AS, the way I will see my parent. You get, it will be so traumatized
Well,
when
like
you have to go through.
SS, you mean?
If you're
Yes,
SS.
if I'm AS, rather,
Yeah.
SS rather, you get, it's not about you now, think about your children. And when AS marry AS or AS marry SS, there is 25% probability that you will have one child in every 4 that will be SS. And when it comes to
Yes.
probability, it's uncertain. You might
You
have
understand? It
4.
could be from the beginning or it
You
could-
might even have 4 of them being SS. It might be
Yes.
2. You might have none. So you cannot try to play dice with your children's life and your life. And
Exactly.
so if you
Okay.
cannot go through it, even if you are the author, I think before you say, yes, I do, you
You can
should.
just back up. All right.
Back
Thank
up.
you so much, guys, for being
You're
on the program.
welcome.
You guys have really, really enlightened us today.
Okay, thank you.
And we do hope that in our relationship we could make the right choices so we don't put other people's lives in jeopardy in the future. Amos chapter 3, verse 3. The Bible says, can two walk together unless they be agreed? Can two walk together unless they are compatible? We need to always know that. Being genotypically compatible is very, very important. It is time to take a wise decision. Make a choice. Are you ready for the future pains you're going to cause for your children? Are you ready to quit now so you can have a happier future? Try to make that decision not for yourself, but for the future of your children. God bless you for joining us today. We hope you do same time next week. God bless you.